Morning, everyone. Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. We have a couple breaking stories we want to get you to this morning. The first is a major motorway bridge collapsed in Italy. Local officials fear 22 people have been killed. Let's get you to that story right away. This is video that was some video that was released by police near Genoa, Italy. Emergency workers have been rushing to rescue victims amidst the rubble. The collapsed bridge is near the northern port city of Genoa. Witnesses told Sky Italia television 8 or 9 vehicles were believed to be on the bridge at the time of the collapse. The bridge was built on the A10 toll motorway in the 1960s and underwent a series of renovations. Restructuring work on the bridge was last carried out in 2016. So far, police say, I believe the latest number we saw was 22 people killed and 8 injured. Again, this is 45 meters, nearly 150 feet into the rubble below. This is the Morandi Bridge. It collapsed over an industrial zone. Actually, there was some video captured by a bystander, a witness who caught part of the collapse on her phone, or his or her phone. Here is video. This is the Ponte Morandi collapsing during the storm.
Oddio! 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 Oddio!
This video was gathered by the Associated Press and shared with us. Again, that's video of the collapse of Ponte Morandi near Genoa, Italy. The witness there was saying, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God," and then I believe they cut out an expletive there after that. So we wish the best to everyone. Hope they're able to save as many of the victims there as possible. Another developing story. Another one from overseas. Here we go. A suspect who crashed a car into barriers outside the House of Parliament in London this morning is detained. The male suspect seen here in police custody. He's surrounded by police in front of several emergency vehicles. A number of pedestrians at the scene were injured during the incident, but none are believed to be in life-threatening condition. A heavy police presence is currently outside the building as authorities continue their investigation. The latest numbers I'm seeing here were at least several people injured, 3 people. The latest string of attacks in the British capital that used vehicles as weapons. This happened around 7:37 a.m. Police flooded the area, hauling the driver from the vehicle, arresting him, and cordoning off streets. Again, police are treating this incident as possible terrorism. They're continuing to investigate. And let me double check there that number. The car plowed into pedestrians and cyclists near the Houses of Parliament. And they're saying 3 injured, so I think that's less than initially feared. And hope everybody is well there. A couple of local stories. Let's get you to coverage of those. Here's some video. Days of downpours triggered flash flooding throughout our area. Many homeowners are waking up with waterfront property, and now the cleanup continues. Typically, cars are traveling on the Kelly Drive. This morning, you might be better off in a canoe. We begin with Steve Killey along the Schuylkill River. He has this report.
Well, whenever the Schuylkill River takes on a coffee color with 3 creams and a sugar, that tells you we had a bad storm the day before. And boy, it looks like a big, ugly, spilled cup of Starbucks on your desk right now. We are right under the Roosevelt Boulevard Route 1 bridges, and this river moving as fast as the morning rush traffic above us on the bridges. Not moving so fast, Kelly Drive traffic, as the trucks that just showed up here from the water department to unclog the drains, which has Philly police shutting down the road, and the drains are all clogged from debris in the streets, and that kept the water from going down the drains, and that kept police busy directing traffic during the morning rush hour here. Hopefully that is the end of the problems here for today, as the water is staying on the right side of the wall. But about 4 hours into our shift here today, we were still seeing people drive through flooded waters before the sun came up, including a guy on a motorcycle who not only blasted over the down, broken apart Philly wooden police barricades, but then decided, let's see how big a splash I can make on a motorcycle. So it made for memorable pictures for some, and hopefully it didn't make for any memorable damage for others, as this raging Schuylkill River is staying within its banks right below the flood stage. Here on the Schuylkill, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News. Back to you.
Crazy video there from Steve Keeley along the Schuylkill River, and catching that motorcyclist early this morning going through a large puddle of water there. I want to get you out to a live event that's occurring right now. This is in New Jersey. This is Governor Phil Murphy is about to sign legislation expanding public-private partnerships. This is occurring at the College of New Jersey and in Ewing Township. And the bill signing is going to be streamed live right now. So we're getting this from the governor's YouTube channel. Let's watch this live right now.
The project's restaurants, shops, and facilities, including a fitness center and healthcare options, directly serve TCNJ students, more than 600 of whom fully occupy its residential units. Campus Town also provides shopping and socializing options for people working or living on campus or in the surrounding communities. As P3 partnerships typically do, this project gives an enormous boost to the local economy. Over 20 years, the project is expected to bring $37 million in tax revenues and $196 million in projected payroll and salaries. Campus Town supported more than 150 on-site construction jobs, and it continues to support 450 permanent jobs, some number of which are held by TCNJ students, helping them to pay for their college education. Those are impressive numbers, but perhaps the most impressive number of all, at least from this public partner's point of view, is zero. No tuition or public dollars went into Campus Town, which was fully financed by our private partner, PRC Group. This win-win synergy is the power of a public-private partnership. As you hear this morning about the many ways that this legislation can boost our economies, know from Campus Town that these advantages are deeply beneficial and already proven. Governor, we are so honored that you chose Campus Town, this P3 project, as the setting for this historic bill signing. Now, there are many things that one could pull from the bio of a sitting governor, particularly the bio of the 56th governor of the state of New Jersey, Phil Murphy. You could consider his background, his business acumen, his ambassadorship in Germany, and his priorities and accomplishments in economic development, the environment, transportation, healthcare, law and justice, and more. But given our setting today, let me highlight his education. Governor Murphy's parents were not college graduates, but they inspired their children to be. Young Phil Murphy worked hard and took jobs to put himself through college at Harvard and graduate school at Wharton. Simply put, Governor Murphy earned his education. It would be no surprise to learn that the governor's 4 children are either in or heading before long to college. Now, in that light, I would not be doing my job as the president of the College of New Jersey if I didn't mention to Governor Murphy that Money Magazine just released its list of best colleges for your money, an accolade that takes into account a college's quality, affordability, and outcomes. I am proud to announce that among the over 3,000 four-year colleges and universities in the United States, public or private, TCNJ ranks 35th. Among public colleges and universities, we rank 23rd nationally and 1st in the state of New Jersey. And among, thank you. and wait for it, and among all public colleges and universities of our size, that's 5,000 to 10,000 students, the College of New Jersey ranks #1 in the nation. Governor,
with this distinguished group, and I'll get to them in a minute. I wanted to say something real quick that is off topic. And then what I think we're going to do after we all get a chance to say a few words, we'll take questions before we sign the bill that are related to P3. A lot of you
apologize for the audio issues here. This is, as I mentioned earlier, a stream from the governor's YouTube page. We'll hope it clears up momentarily. We'll hang with this for a little bit to see if it...
As Mark, to the representatives from Legislative District 40, this flooding, these tragedies, these challenges, and today good opportunities transcend politics, and last night was no exception. Also a shout out to the police, fire, other emergency management personnel for their efforts. The families I met know that our thoughts and prayers are with them. Unfortunately, they are far from alone. By the way, 190 flooded homes in Little Falls, 210 in Woodland Park, just to pick those two communities. Whether it is elsewhere, and by the way, not just there, elsewhere across northern New Jersey. I spoke yesterday to the mayors of Caldwell, West Caldwell, Wayne, Totowa, other communities, but also down by us, and in particular more in Ocean than Monmouth, but Brick, Toms River, back up to Howell. Many neighborhoods are fighting against rising waters. Again, I must acknowledge the officials and first responders in every community who have responded to the flash flooding. We just signed an executive order executive order declaring a state of emergency for Bergen, Monmouth, Passaic, Essex, and Ocean counties. This will allow us to focus resources into the most impacted areas as necessary. Our job as public officials, first and foremost, is to ensure that everyone is safe, especially since we may not be out of this weather pattern yet. In fact, we are not out of it. Almost without question, we're going to see more rainfall, and we're sort of stuck in this vortex for the next, looks like 5 or 6 more days at a minimum. And it's going to fall onto already saturated ground. So when you're out, folks, if you're watching this, please be careful and use common sense. Any new rains will have nowhere to go but into the streets and already overflowing waterways. Don't attempt to drive into flooded areas. I saw cars strewn about like they were little blocks that kids play with. Be extra careful and look for downed wires or downed trees that may have taken wires with them. As to the here and now, the state is continuing to coordinate with local and county officials as well as volunteer organizations to meet the immediate needs of residents driven from their homes for shelter and emergency food and water. The most important thing anyone who cannot return to their home can do, and this is an important point, is to communicate their specific needs to emergency officials, particularly the Office of Emergency Management in their community and their county. The state, we're acting preemptively. We actually haven't had a lot of requests for help come our way. So part of the reason we signed the executive order is to lean forward and into this and to coordinate aggressively and proactively with OEMs at the county and local level. In terms of recovery, for the state to qualify for federal relief from either FEMA or the Small Business Administration, we have to hit certain damage thresholds. We were able to do that and cobbled together the blizzard damages, as tough as they were, to qualify for FEMA money over the winter. I urge, for us to get there, though, I urge businesses as well as individuals to fully document their damages to their county Office of Emergency Management, who will then reflect that up to the state level. And that means for individuals and homeowners, documenting any physical damage to property. Business owners should document revenue losses tied directly to the floods as well as property damage. Local officials should continue to document damages for debris removal, such as downed trees and mud from streets, and emergency protective measures such as sandbagging or pumping out floodwater. Most importantly, officials should continue to communicate with their county OEM partners who help the state police OEM coordinate responses and resources throughout the state. For the longer term, our goal remains to create more resilient communities which can withstand these types of events. We can't keep seeing the same movie again and again. We're going to use the lessons from the past several days to help us chart that course and examine ways to protect our communities better. There is no doubt that in some parts of our state have received nothing less than historic amounts of rain. As was reported, some communities received an entire month or even 2 months worth of rain in just a matter of minutes. It's all too common for us to throw around terms like a 100-year event when these storms hit more often. We must be better prepared. They're not once in 100-year events. They're at this point once in 100 minutes. We must be better prepared, but there is absolutely no doubt our people are already strong and resilient. I saw that firsthand yesterday. Dan Kelly is with me, who is our coordinator for OEM in the governor's office. And again, if I could beg your indulgence, after we sign the bill, Dan and I will go off to the side and take any questions you've got that are off topic. Again, good morning. It is wonderful to be here at the College of New Jersey. I guess 9 days ahead of the students arriving back. This is, as Kate said, one of the state's premier institutions of higher education, if not one of the country's. I want to thank President Foster for your incredibly gracious introduction and welcome officially you to TCNJ. I'm in particular proud to welcome you back to New Jersey, a Verona product who just most recently spent a bunch of years running one of Maine's outstanding institutions of higher education. It's great to have you back in New Jersey. I look forward to a continued strong relationship with this college throughout your tenure as president. It's also great to be here with Senate President Steve Sweeney, Associated Construction Contractors of New Jersey Chief Executive Officer Jack Koshis, and PRC Group Chairman and CEO Robert Kay. We're here to enact a new law to give our communities greater opportunities to benefit from common sense public-private partnerships to undertake essential construction and capital projects, all the while protecting property tax payers. This is a big deal. If you compare what we're about to sign, what Steve and Senator Oroho and others have championed, this is a big deal, not just in New Jersey, moving the needle in the P3 world, but if you compare what we're doing today in New Jersey, I think almost to any American state, we're opening this up wide. We are open for business. We're joined by a whole range of luminaries, a huge and extraordinary set of representatives of organized labor, a whole bunch of folks in our cabinet, representatives of other colleges in the state. It's an incredible honor to have you all with us today. The fact that this measure has garnered, and this is an important point as I look at Tom and Steve and others here, that this has garnered such bipartisan support says a lot. It says that we all, Democrats and Republicans alike, recognize the tremendous benefits that can arise when public officials and private sector partners work together. Together, we're giving our state, county, and local officials much needed flexibility to improve their communities, all the while creating good paying new jobs, and in most cases, I hope in all, union jobs, and doing so in a way that shields property taxpayers from shouldering an undue burden. Moreover, this law will ensure that while we strengthen our communities and state economy, we will also strengthen our middle class with protections for prevailing wage and project labor agreements. P3 projects are directly tied to the stronger side of the stronger and fairer New Jersey we talk about and we are building. A stronger economy is driven by new jobs at good wages. Communities are strengthened by new projects that meet the needs of residents. And the state is made stronger by the creation of new infrastructure critical to underpinning our long-term economic success. For several years, job-creating P3 projects have been the sole domain of our public colleges and universities. And as Kate referred to it, we've got a great example of what has been made possible through public-private partnerships right here at TCNJ. Without the ability to work collaboratively with the PRC group, among other partners, the campus town development, which has been a tremendous boon to both students and here at TCNJ and the greater Ewing community, would not have been possible. Likewise, we've seen similar advancements at colleges and universities across and up and down the state, from Montclair to Rowan to Stockton's Gateway Project, to pick a few, among many, many other examples. These projects are allowing our institutions of higher education to become global leaders. But with looming infrastructure needs up and down New Jersey, now is the time to expand the possibilities from just our college campuses to Main Street and beyond. This is how we will keep our communities as places that people from all over the world want to come and live, and where businesses will want to come to set down roots and create new jobs. From the need to upgrade vital transportation infrastructure, to water lines that desperately need to be replaced, to strong information technology infrastructure, to the necessity of modern centers for learning in our public schools, the list of issues facing our state and communities is long. These are not inexpensive problems either. Many of them would stretch government entities far beyond the ability of taxpayers to pay. But with this newfound ability and flexibility to explore P3 possibilities and create far-reaching projects that can be done collaboratively will go a long way to allowing us to get vital statewide and community-focused improvements off the drawing boards and into reality. Again, I am grateful to the bipartisan leadership of the legislature for their efforts to get this bill on my desk. They're not here today, but I want to give in absentia a shout out to Speaker Craig Coughlin, Majority Leader Lou Greenwald, Minority Leader John Bramnick, and then Assemblyman and now Senator Joe Lagana for also sponsoring this law. I'm also grateful for the work of many people and many leaders in the building trades, in the business community, and in our communities to keep this issue in the forefront. And this will be a win-win-win for each. Of course, nothing we can do here can replace true leadership from Washington in supporting our communities. So even as we celebrate this new law today, tomorrow we'll get back to the hard work of convincing the President and the congressional leadership that we need greater investment in New Jersey and in our communities, in the Gateway Tunnel Project in particular, in our transportation and mass transit networks, and much more. Those are truly game-changing projects, not just for our state, but for our nation's economy and security. And I would like nothing more than for them to be undertaken alongside game-changing projects that will truly reshape our state and make us stronger, more resilient, and ready for the future. With that, I want to call up, I'm honored to introduce a friend, Jack Koshis, Chief Executive Officer of the Associated Construction Contractors of the great state of New Jersey. Jack? Great to have you, man.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Governor. Boy, this is a long time coming. We've been working on this piece of legislation for probably 7 or 8 years, and it really has, as you heard from President Foster, it really has the ability to advance New Jersey's economy, and it will move much-needed public works projects that don't have any funding attached to them. Today, it really demonstrates that New Jersey's serious, as the Governor has mentioned, about working with private entities to actually attract capital to improve our infrastructure. Special recognition, though, should really go to the sponsors of the legislation. Senate President Sweeney, of course, Senator Arrojo, very instrumental in helping promote this and move it along. We have Senator Singleton, Speaker Coughlin, Assemblyman Greenwald, and Bramnick. Again, bipartisan support because everybody understands the real need for this. These legislative leaders, and they really did lead this issue, truly understand the economic challenges of New Jersey, but they also understand we need to invest in our infrastructure to keep New Jersey the great state that it is. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a special acknowledgement to Senate President Sweeney for his focus and his commitment of finding unique ways to help finance and fund our infrastructure, and in doing so, increasing transparency, increasing the much-needed public protections, increasing contractor pre-qualification requirements and certifications, and of course ensuring that skilled labor will be working on these projects. So, Senator, we really appreciate it. Also, behind the scenes, I really would like to recognize John Parkinson, from the Executive Director of the Association for the Improvement of American Infrastructure. John and his organization helped with all the technical support to make sure that this bill was done right and that all the protections and the policy issues were dealt with to make it the best bill that it could be. So we really appreciate, John, you and your support. And last but certainly not least, Governor Murphy for his commitment, his leadership, and his vision on this issue. As candidate Murphy, we talked many times about this, and the governor truly understood the value of bringing private investment into the public sector, how we could leverage it and actually get things done like this college town, campus town project, and others around the state. So we thank the governor for making this a reality and providing all public bodies with a P3 tool to advance work that wouldn't otherwise go. So thank you very much.
Jack, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Jack, thank you for those very gracious words. And by the way, Steve and I were just commenting, we would like to come back looking like you. We both think you look like you walked out of a movie set, so whatever you're doing, it's working, Jack. It's working. Thank you again for your leadership and your friendship and support, and we wouldn't be here without you. It's now my honor to ask the PRC Chair and Chief Executive Officer to come up and say a few words, a guy who knows this P3 land better probably than anybody in the state. Please welcome Robert Kane.
Welcome, everyone. Governor Murphy, Mayor Steinman, who I don't believe is here today, Dr. Foster, other dignitaries, assembled guests, thank you all for gathering here today at PRC's Campus Town development on the campus of the College of New Jersey. Campus Town, the amazing product of cooperative collaboration between TCNJ and the PRC group of companies, may be the quintessential paradigm of a public-private partnership that should serve as a model across the entire state for how that concept should work. There can be no more fitting place for Governor Murphy to sign into law new legislation that will revive and facilitate the continuation of higher education public-private partnerships. P3 transactions have become vital tools for use by public entities in the planning and development of important capital programs. They offer an essential mechanism by which much-needed public infrastructure and facilities can be constructed off the balance sheets of our institutions of higher learning and without further burdening the taxpayers of New Jersey. And who among us doesn't like that? In fact, a 2016 study by Syracuse University concluded that there is a significantly higher likelihood of meeting cost and schedule objectives under public-private partnership models compared with traditional public sector project delivery. Simply put, the public sector does certain things better and the private sector does other things better. What could be greater than marrying the respective strengths of both sectors and forging these forces into bonds of partnership that serve mutual interests? But Campus Town and other P3 projects are not just about economics. They are much more important than mere models of financing. The Campus Town project has been able to provide the TCNJ student body with a new modern housing option, as well as access to a state-of-the-art fitness center, retail shops, restaurants, other eateries they would not have otherwise have. It offers an exciting hub for student activity and a point of interfacing between the college and the larger Ewing community. As a result, TCNJ has become an even more attractive educational institution for young people and a better educational value for students overall. In addition, it reinforces the economic vitality of Ewing and enhances the quality of life of all community residents who have equal access to the retail and dining options Campustown provides. Public-private partnerships are also extremely important engines of job creation. We are proud that this Campustown generated over 300 construction jobs and well over 400 full-time and part-time retail jobs. Additional public-private partnerships will further spur New Jersey's economy in the right direction, and we are happy to be part of that process. I would be happy to work with the governor and his team moving forward. Thank you very much.
I just want to echo something that Mr. Kay said, which is that this is a best of both worlds, best of the sort of public sector norms, best of organized labor norms and standards, and the best that the private sector can bring, and that's a rare opportunity. I mentioned Senator Oro earlier. I want to reiterate, however, that you are a main driver in this. It's not just nice to have you here, but you're one of the sponsors of this, and you work with another Steve. And it's my great pleasure to ask to come on up and say a few words. A guy who's been on this as early and as hard-driven and as focused as anybody in this state. Let's hear it for the Senate President, Steve Sweeney.
Thank you. Madam President, my son did go here. Yes. And graduated with a master's from here. And I have to tell you, from knowing this campus, this project is an enormous benefit. You know, I talked to my son, and he kind of regrets not being here now because there wasn't a whole lot here. Great school, but kids look to do things. So what you did was you were able to capture the economic benefit of all these young people and their dollars to spend to create jobs. Public-private partnerships are the most important thing we could be doing in the state. As the governor calls for a stronger, fairer economy, this is one of the pieces that actually build that. With private sector ingenuity, technology, you know, they can do it better. And I want to thank Governor Murphy because this bill is better than the last P3 bill that we did because it expanded into infrastructure. New Jersey is going to be the lead, you know, in this country in making investments to improve our infrastructure, our universities. It's wonderful, but it's just so much more we can do. We were just scratching the surface. And the partnership that we had with the governor and my partner in a lot of initiatives, it's Oraho, right?
Either way, it's Oraho, or rake or shovel.
All right, because I think he said your name wrong, but like me, I answered anything anyway, Steve. Sweeney's easier, though.
Steve is easier.
Steve's easier, absolutely. But he's been a wonderful partner in the legislature, and you know, things are always better when we can do them in a bipartisan fashion. And having the support from both sides of the aisle to create this opportunity is enormous. And you know, when you see us all work together, and I actually have to mention the Speaker and Lou Greenwald and John Bramnick also, because without their support, you know, it's always better when we work together. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, just because you have different beliefs. But on economic development, you know, you can see we all get it. And again, Governor, I want to thank you for strengthening this bill, making it much better than the previous bills that we've done. And we're going to move the state forward. And I look forward to the day when people are going to talk about, well, they're doing this in New Jersey. They're doing this in New Jersey. They're doing that in New Jersey. And we're the model for the nation. So, Governor, again, thank you for signing this bill, making it a better bill, to my legislative partner and the partners in the Assembly, because we've actually done a very good thing here today. And this starts to help grow the economy. Thank you.
Amen. Well said. You know, it's an interesting point that Steve just said. Steve squared here. We got Steve Sweeney just said that a senior advisor, I won't say who and what state, to a neighboring big, you know, in the region governor, said that they are just their jaws on the floor with the expansiveness and potential impact of this particular bill. And so it's getting attention. It's going to have real results. Take anything that's related to this, if we could, and then I'd love to sign this, and then we'll do a separate, Danny, somewhere we'll do a separate gaggle on storms and other stuff. Anything on P3, please. Yeah. So the question is, can you give an example of a future project that right now it wouldn't be subject to P3, but would be in the future? It's almost anything. It could be a local library. Highway construction, transit-related, the whole raft of infrastructure. This opens it up wide. Now, there's going to be some projects where there'll be some jurisdictional issues. So, for instance, I'd have to we'll come back to you later if you ask me specifically about how this law particularly applies to the Gateway project, as an example. But we expect this to have a very broad application. And by the way, no one has said this. If folks are out there wondering, oh my Lord, the private sector is running away with the store here, that's just not true. This law requires the treasurer of the state of New Jersey to opine on every project. If it's a school project, our Commissioner of Education, Dr. Repollet, here. He and his team would have to opine on it. Secretary of Higher Ed, Zacchaeus Smith-Ellis, is here. That's already the case for higher ed projects. Secondly, while the funding may be coming from diverse sources, the responsibility financially for the project is on the backs of the private sector. And I did mention earlier, I hope I did, that this is all going to be done on our terms, particularly on prevailing wage and project labor agreements. So there are a lot of mitigants that make sure that nobody's going to run away with the store here. If anything, to the contrary, the taxpayer is going to be a big benefit from this. Anybody? Shall we sign this thing? All right, come on down. Let's go.
So awesome. Let's go.
Looks like that event is ending. You were watching New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy at a bill signing that would expand public-private partnerships. He was talking a little bit about what they'd done at the College of New Jersey and Ewing Township there, where they were speaking. Want to take you to, let's talk a little bit about the weather. Here's Ultimate Doppler. You can see our moisture making system here is still in the area, rotating around a bit. We've gotten a lot of rain. Some parts have and some parts haven't, but those that have seen rain have generally seen a good amount of it. We showed you earlier Steve Keeley on the banks of the Schuylkill River this morning, talking a little bit about the impact of the flooding there. Let's get you to Lauren Johnson. She was reporting from Darby Borough in Delaware County. Let's get you her report from this morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. We're in Darby Borough this morning, and what a difference a day makes. Look at what's left over from yesterday. Just a lot of mud there clogging the storm drains because everything overflowed from the nearby Darby Creek. It was a mess. People forced out of their homes and into the hands of Red Cross. The Darby Creek waters rose so high, people were stuck inside their homes. Some of them needed help getting to safety. First responders were busy all day with rescue calls coming in from all over our area. The torrential downpours left streets looking like lakes, cars submerged under murky waters. It was so bad, officials declared a state of emergency here. The local American Red Cross assisted about 30 families throughout the day with food, shelter, and water. Many of them able to return home last night, but 4 families needed long-term care.
Darby has flooded before, but it's been a number of years, so it took everybody by surprise today. But considering all the circumstances, their moods were pretty good. It's been probably 7 years since we've seen a flood like this in Darby, so it snuck up on them.
It was terrible. It was a disaster, just like, the word disaster. It was a disaster, and it was just heartbreaking.
Now, that woman you just heard from, Hazel Cole, said she had to climb out of a window because her front door was flooded so badly. Red Paws had to go back to rescue her cat while she waits for electric and gas to be safely restored at her home. But she says she doesn't even know if she wants to go back home, afraid that something like this could happen again. It happened here in Darby Borough about 7 years ago. So this morning, Red Cross is offering cleanup kits to any families that are affected by what happened yesterday. We are still not out of the woods just yet. More rain expected later today, but hopefully people will be able to get back into their homes to assess the damage. Back to you guys.
Again, that was our Lauren Johnson reporting this morning from Darby Borough in Delaware County, talking about the flooding there and the cleanup that's undergoing. We've got another look at Ultimate Doppler for you so you can see there is some rain, some scattered showers moving back into the area right now. So stay dry out there, and we'll hope the cleanup goes well and the rain totals are light, but it does look like there is the chance for more showers today. Let's show you a little bit. Here's a live look at Allentown. This is Allentown, Pennsylvania, out in Lehigh County. Yesterday, it was a pretty messy day. Some parts of Lehigh County, I'm looking at the National Weather Service rain totals here. Berks County had a township, Windsor Township, with 6 inches of rain. Lehigh County, Clausville had 5.59 inches of rain in the 4 o'clock hour yesterday. Lehigh Valley International Airport had more than 2.5 inches of rain. So those are some impressive storm totals. Let's show you some other storm totals from around the area. Philadelphia had over a ½ inch. Pottstown had nearly 3. But you see some of the shore communities dodged. Wilmington had more than 2 inches, but Trenton not a lot. Then you got up in some other parts of New Jersey that had more than 7 inches of rain. So widely scattered, but there was the potential for some heavy rain yesterday, realized rain. As I mentioned, here's Allentown. Let's show you a time lapse of some of the storms from yesterday going through that area. This is about 20 seconds long before it'll loop. So just a kind of amazing, look at the clouds. These time lapses always kind of mesmerize me. Here is a Reading time lapse from yesterday. Again, these are from yesterday, not currently occurring. These are time lapse videos. here's one from Wilmington, Delaware yesterday. So we're happy not to be dealing with that again today. Here's a live look at Wilmington. Seems to have frozen up there. Let's get rid of that earlier logo for you. That doesn't really want to go away. Anyway. So stay dry out there. We'll hope for the best as far as the weather is concerned. Let's get you a look at the 7-day forecast. There we go. You can see Tuesday, so today it's back to the 90s, although it looks like we may not get there. 81 will be headed back to the 90s on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Potential for a heat wave. 91 on Friday. Again, I believe the Red Sox are in town for an interleague series, so enjoy those games if you get a chance. Then Saturday and Sunday we cool off a little, but sunny and warm with a chance of, looks like a lightning bolt there, maybe a chance of storm Saturday. Monday is sunny and warm, 84. So back into the 80s for highs. Looks like we could get back to 60s for a low on Monday. Let's get you to some national news now. The FBI agent who once spearheaded 2 politically charged investigations is out of a job. Peter Strzok worked closely on the Hillary Clinton email case and the special counsel's Russia probe, but as Fox's Griff Jenkins reports from Washington, it was Strzok's fiery text messages that ultimately took him down.
Just to put it in perspective here, FBI agents work under the radar. That included Peter Strzok until those text messages started surfacing. Congress started digging. Now Strzok is out, and the FBI is trying to regain much lost of its reputation. Former agent Peter Strzok spent a tumultuous year trying to save his 21-year career at the FBI, even testifying before Congress last month.
Not once in my 26 years of defending our nation did my personal opinions impact any official action I took.
But in the end, it was those personal opinions that did him in. His distaste for President Trump was laid out in multiple text messages with FBI lawyer Lisa Page. It was all too much for special counsel Robert Mueller, who dismissed him from the Russia investigation last year. An inspector general's report in June led to a recommendation that he be suspended and demoted, but the FBI's deputy director overruled that recommendation and cut Strzok loose. Strzok's lawyer in a statement said, quote, the decision to terminate was taken in response to political pressure, but one of Strzok's chief critics in Congress said Strzok had only himself to blame.
Of course, his lawyer says that it was a railroad job. His only other option is to say, you know what, my client prejudged 2 major investigations. He made up his mind that Hillary Clinton was innocent before he interviewed her. He made up his mind that Donald Trump should be impeached before he bothered to interview him. And oh, by the way, he did a lot of this on the government phone, and he violated other FBI policy.
And the president is celebrating Strzok's sacking over Twitter, calling for a reinvestigation into Hillary Clinton. No indication that that's going to happen.
Again, that was Griff Jenkins reporting from Washington, D.C. with the latest on the dismissal of Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who was a part of both the Clinton email investigation and the Russia probe that's ongoing, the special counsel's investigation, early stages anyway. Adidas is now creating city-specific running sneakers. Fox Business Network's Tracy Carrasco has that story and more in today's Morning Business Outlook.
Good morning. U.S. stocks fell on Monday. The Dow closed down 125 points, and the economic crisis in Turkey continued to spill over to global markets. Elon Musk is providing new information about taking Tesla private. In a blog post, Musk says Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund has approached him several times about providing financial support for the buyout. But he also makes it clear that no final deal for financing is in place. Comcast announced it is opening its low-cost internet program to military veterans. The Internet Essentials program currently provides $10 a month broadband to low-income families and individuals, but will soon help those who served our country. The program has helped 6 million Americans since it was started in 2011. And Adidas has crafted a collection of running sneakers for big cities around the world using data collected from real athletes to meet the specific needs of runners in each city based on its terrain, weather, and other factors. So far, there are sneakers for London, Paris, New York, Los Angeles, Shanghai, and a version for Tokyo coming soon. That's business. For more, log on to foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm Tracy Carrasco.
Hello again, Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now. Let's get you a quick look at the stock market. Market is up right now, 111 points. Dow Jones Industrial over 25,298. So up about 0.4 of a point right now, percentage-wise. Let's also get you a quick update on the condition of Aretha Franklin, the famous musician. Fans and friends, including Mariah Carey and Missy Elliott, offered prayers and well wishes to the Queen of Soul, who is seriously ill. A person close to Franklin who spoke on the condition of anonymity because the person was not allowed to publicly talk about the topic, told the Associated Press that the singer is seriously ill, but no more details were provided. This is Mariah Carey, who considers Franklin one of her biggest influences, wrote on Twitter that she's praying for the Queen of Soul. Missy Elliott said that the public has to celebrate iconic artists before they die. So many of them have given us decades of timeless music, the rapper wrote on Twitter. So not much new information on Aretha Franklin's condition, but we're continuing to follow that. Let's go back to two stories that we reported earlier today. One is the bridge collapse in Italy. It looked to me like the victim total had gone down a little bit. They're now reporting 20 dead. Let me just make sure I have that latest information for you. They're saying 20 killed. Let's show you that video again. These were stills provided by police in Italy, in the area of Genoa there. This is a bridge on a main highway linking Italy with France collapsed Tuesday in the Italian port city during a sudden violent storm. And they're saying vehicles plunged 45 meters, nearly 150 feet into the rubble below. Italian officials now saying at least 20 people were killed and others injured. They were saying 22 killed, 8 injured. Again, here is video from a witness showing the collapse at the time.
Oddio! 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 Oddio!
So we'll continue to follow that story for you. Also, we showed you earlier a suspect has been detained in Britain. This after the car plowed into pedestrians and cyclists near the Houses of Parliament in London during the morning rush hour Tuesday. They're saying 3 people injured, and they suspect that this is another in the string of attacks in the British capital where vehicles were used as weapons. I believe the suspect, the video said that he was in a black coat and was in custody, being placed into a car. So, suspect in custody there. Let's talk some more about the weather. Here is, you can see some storms starting to pop up again in Montgomery County, Delaware County, out in Chester County. Looks like a little bit of yellow showing up on the radar. So keep an eye on the skies. Watch for more rain. Oops, wasn't showing you the radar yet. There you go. National Weather Service put out a chart that shows the rainfall totals from June 1 to yesterday, and you know what the rainfall has been and normal. Topping the list was Wilmington, North Carolina, which typically sees about 16 inches of rain during that period. They're up over 28 inches, 28.69 inches. Closer to here, Baltimore, Maryland usually sees almost 9, but is over 23. And Williamsport, Pennsylvania, we've talked about all the rain that central Pennsylvania has been getting. Several central and northern Pennsylvania towns showing up on this list. Williamsport usually sees less than 10 and is over 21 inches. Reading usually sees almost 10 and is at 19.83 inches. Harrisburg, those numbers are about the same there. Allentown typically sees about 11 inches and is over 17 for that June 1st, August 13th period. So heavy, heavy rain, much more than our normal rainfall amounts falling across the area with these storms that have been bringing moisture up the coast, and in some cases having it cycle around and stay with us for a while, as you're seeing right here. Let's take a look at our regional weather cameras right now. We'll take you around the region, give you a look at various locales, and you can get a feel for the weather there right now. And let's get you one last look at radar. There you go. You see some pop-up showers back over our area. Looks like they're over Montgomery County, up into Bucks a little bit, but more so in Delaware, Chester, and Berks counties. Actually, some up there now in the Lehigh Valley region too. So across the north and west suburbs, rain moving back into the area. So keep an eye out for that. We'll get another look at your 7-day forecast before we go. We are looking at a couple 8s, so not going to be washouts by any stretch. You'll see some sunshine, but keep an eye on the rain. Looks like some of the river gauges have no longer showing minor flooding in some areas. Some are pre-flood stage. Hopefully we don't get a lot of rain to push them back up into the danger zones. We obviously showed you earlier some of the high water in Darby Borough, in places like along the Schuylkill to Kelly Drive. So be mindful. You might find some road closures out there as you make your way around. Hopefully the cleanup is underway and things are getting back to normal in more areas. I want to thank you very much for watching Fox 29 News Now. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you again soon.